Right, so in this video we're going to be talking about the Vaati fights. So the thing to know of the Vaati fights is that each phase of the fight can be completed in 3 cycles. We'll go through each of the fights individually and I'll show you the ways that I find is the most consistent for doing these fights, and you should learn for doing races, as they help a lot to make sure that you don't die in these fights and you can do these fights fast, because in the end, for races, everyone's going to have to be doing these Vaati fights, and there's been quite a few races where I've managed to overtake people at the end simply because I've practiced these fights. So it's in your best interest to do these. So first off, we're going to have a look at Vaati 1, so let's do that now. So, for safety reasons with Vaati 1, you want to try and make sure that you stay above him. But as the fight starts just now, you can see I'm mashing the A button at the moment. You want to be spamming your sword here so that you can hit both of these eyes as they swing around to you. Make sure you have your gust jar equipped at some point. It doesn't really matter when you equip it. That first stage with Vaati, you only need to do 1 or 2 hits on him. He doesn't take too much damage in the first phase. Immediately afterwards, I charged a great spin attack, because what I'm going to do here is hit all 4 of the eyes that spin around him in the second stage with the great spin attack. If you don't have great spin attack, just standing above him at this point and aiming upwards with your sword and swinging upwards, you normally hit all of the eyes here. And then as soon as the eyes die, you immediately start hitting his body. At the end of the second phase, this is why you need the gust jar. You use the gust jar on his body there, and you suck up the purple orbs that are going to be on the eyes in the third stage. As they spawn in, you can automatically suck them off of his body. And then that means that the eyes are immediately vulnerable in phase 3, and you don't need to try and get the orbs off of them, get the black orbs off of the eyes as they're spinning around his body. And yeah, you just go around and you break off all of the eyes. So this is the end of the third stage, and this is the point that you can 3-cycle him if you get these next hits in right. So what I recommend is to do a great spin attack at this point, and then hopefully get lucky enough so that he doesn't do too many warps, and that you can get all of these hits off of and on him. And then right at the end there, you want to, if he finishes in the bottom right corner, that's fantastic. You can get this fairy in this pot over here. The only thing I would say is, if Vaati's unfortunate and he does too many warps, your great spin attacks are going to probably run out before you can get the hits off on him. So if you don't have great spin attack, or you get unfortunate with it, then I would recommend trying to use the roll attack. And when he's doing the warps, you want to do a roll attack and try and roll into him. Once Link does his spin after doing the roll attack, then you just want to mash on his body, and hopefully that will also let you do a 3-cycle. If not, doing 4-cycle Vaati 1 isn't that slow, and you'll probably have hit him a couple times the first time you try to do the 3 cycles, so then he'll die quickly the second time. Right, now moving on to Vaati 2. Hang on, I just got another video of it here. So, let's just get going with Vaati 2 then. So the first stage of Vaati 2, his eyes are always the bottom row there, so you know exactly what to do there. So at that point there, if you have the down strike, you can switch to the Rock's Cape, and then you can just jump into him and hit all 4 of the eyes there with the down strike. The reason why we do that there is because here you do enough damage to Vaati, to the first cycle of Vaati to finish that cycle. So you can just avoid charging the sword and creating clones at that point to damage the eye, to get through the first cycle. The second and third cycles, Vaati has too much health for you to do it with a single link. You want to make the clones so that you can do extra damage with the other clones. If you don't have down strike, then just hit him a couple times with your clones. It's very straightforward. So the second phase, the red eyes are either going to be all on the left or all on the right. So you want to fire a couple of arrows at the lower point to see on which side his body the eyes are going to be, and then start creating some clones and moving over to there. And to do the second stage, you want to do a single spin attack just like that. So in the first stage, what I did there was I fired 2 arrows into those bottom 2 orbs on him, and that immediately tells you where the red eyes are going to be. Because if both of them were red, then it would all be on the bottom row. If one side was red and the other one was blue, then the side that was red, that side is going to be where the red eyes were. And here, because they were both blue, I know that the top row is going to have all of the eyes, so that's how you can figure out exactly which of the orbs are going to be Vaati's vulnerable ones. And to finish the fight there, all you do is a single spin attack, and then you just turn and then hit him once with the sword. It's really bad to use Great Spin Attack, so I really recommend never using Great Spin Attack on Vaati 2, because you'll just be spinning on him and it won't do any additional damage as you hit him multiple times. It'll look like you're doing lots of damage to him, but you're really not. It's just not doing anything. Also, the other thing I would say is that in that fight I had the butterfly for the bow, which meant that I could fire shots really rapidly. If you don't have the butterfly, then you can do this technique called boot cancelling, where when you fire the bow, as the arrow leaves the bow and starts flying through the air, what you do is you tap the L button to start doing a boot dash, and that cancels the animation of Link slowly putting the bow away from using the bow without having the butterfly. So it lets you fire arrows as quickly as if you had the butterfly. If you don't have the butterfly, that's a really easy technique that's worth practicing as well. Right, so that's Vaati 2 down. Now let's have a look at Vaati 3. So with Vaati 3 is the easiest out of all of these. It's very unlikely that you're going to take too much damage on him. So what I do there is I roll to the side to drag his body off to the side there, and then stand on the shrink platform. When Link's standing on the shrink platform, he doesn't take any damage, so you want to be spending most of your time on that platform there and just letting Vaati 3 do his stuff, like swinging his arms about and shooting the electric orbs, and none of it's going to hurt you, which is great. And then you stay on there until he shoves his arm down into the ground, and then there's a specific timing window you wait, and then you jump off and then get ready to fire the cane at his arm, and then you shrink and then you go into his arm like that. In this, now we're inside the arm, the best thing to do is just Great Spin Attack. It just works every time. I was a bit blind here. I came over to the right, where actually the dodgy eye is on the left, so you're looking for the thing that's got the dodgy eye on him. And then, yeah, again, we're getting straight back onto the stone and just standing there. Vaati's going to do his other stuff like that. He shoves his arm down, we get into position and fire the cane. And then we go and shrink again. That was perfect timing. That meant that when we shrunk, we landed inside of the thing, so it put us straight into here. So the second one, you want to have the lantern out to do that. Now with that second fight, it is possible to do it without the lantern, but it is quite difficult, and I would say that it's practically impossible if you don't have great spin attack. So if you want to have a go, try practicing it with in the dark with the great spin attack. It's certainly possible. I've done it a few times myself. Just pay attention to the audio cues, because the eye that takes damage has a very specific noise that he makes. So if you just keep on going around until you hear that noise, then it's quite consistent. It's about 50-50 that you'll be able to do it lanternless. Right, after the second arm dies, we get into the final stage of Vaati 3, which is the most important one. So what I do here is you want to get your bombs out. In this, I'm demonstrating this with only the regular bombs. What you really want to have is remote bombs, because that speeds up the fight quite considerably. But it is possible with the regular bombs, so I'm demonstrating it with them. So as soon as you come out of his final arm, you want to start charging your spin attack as quickly as possible and start creating clones. So the pattern I made there with the links there was to make sure that I didn't have the main link on either the left hand or the right hand side, because what I want to do now is maintain my position directly in front of Vaati 3. If you stay directly in front of him, he will always use his blue orb attack in this phase. And the reason why I don't put a link on either the right hand side or the left hand side is if Vaati 3 decides to go right to the edge of the arena on either the right hand side or the left hand side, it means that in this orientation I'll be able to hang one of the clones off the edge and be able to hit all of the orbs back. But if I had a link actually on that side, he would fall off the edge and then I would lose all the clones. So you want to try and make an orientation like this. Sometimes you're a bit too rushed though, and it's just faster to make just go a straight line through all of the platforms to all the tiles to make clones as quickly as possible though. Right, so here we're maintaining our position directly in front of Vaati 3. So there's multiple ways that you can fire the orbs back there. So what I did was stayed in a close position, aligning the link in front of Vaati 3, and then charged a spin attack moving far down so that I had time to react when he fired the orbs back. You release the spin attack and then the orbs fly back into him. Straight away, as soon as you've hit the orbs back, you want to break the clones and then drop a bomb. So with the regular bomb, you need to do it immediately. If you waste any time after you knock the orbs back, the bomb might not explode in time to deal damage to Vaati. So what we do here is we pick up a bomb and we throw it into him, and as soon as we've thrown it into him, we start charging again and get more clones up so that we can go at him again. The reason why we can do this is because Vaati 3 only has 2 HP per cycle. He looks like he's going to take lots and lots of damage. Like, you can keep on slashing him with like multiple clones, but really he only has 2 HP, and as soon as you do that 2 HP of damage, he'll move on to his next phase. Yeah, so there the bomb explodes just in time to deal damage to him before he regenerates. And now he's moved on to the next cycle. And again, we're making sure we're standing directly in front of him, move down to give us time, and volley the orbs back at him. Straight away, getting the bomb out, getting ready for the next stage. Line up, get the spin attack ready, move over so that we're lined up in front of him, volley the orbs back, and then kill him. So at the end there, I did the demo. It was kind of muscle memory there. I picked up a bomb and threw it at him. But if you're doing this fight with the regular bombs, that final phase, you just run up to him and hit him like what I just did there, and don't bother throwing the bombs. If you're using remote bombs, pick up the bomb, lob it at him, blow it up, and then that's time. And then and then that's the fight over. As soon as you do the last hit of damage, you press .done and you win the race. Well done. You've just beaten Vaati 3 in 3 cycles, and in fact done all of the fights in 3 cycles. So um, there's a lot of information there for you to digest. So I recommend playing doing these fights with save states. In fact, I recorded all of this with save states. So you just want to do a save state before each fight. Do it several times and try and do it so that you can do each like all of Vati 1 and do it getting 3 cycles and keep on doing it until you can consistently get like a 3 cycle fight on each stage, and then move on to the next one and do Vati 2 and try and get a 3 cycle, and then do Vati 3 and try and get a 3 cycle. That's my advice for practicing this. So yeah, spending an hour or an hour and a half just practicing the Vati fights will give you more than enough experience with being able to like do him consistently. So a good Vati time from starting the Vati 1 fight um, to Dot Dunning at this point is going to be under 5 minutes. So in pretty much every race, you're aiming to hit a time of under 5 minutes. Obviously, you can get unfortunate in races, like Vati 2 might decide to throw those purple spikes in weird directions or just like hug one of the walls. Vati 3 decides to, fire electricity at you for some reason when you're doing this strategy because he's mean. Vati 1 might decide to fire the fire at you even though you're standing above him and it hits you for some reason. So you can be unfortunate like that, but luckily hopefully, this should help you out. So thank you for watching. Keep an eye out because I'll be doing some more videos like these on all of the other bosses in the game. Yes, so thanks for tuning in and see you later.